right, this is day 3 of our cornerstone unit, and we are writing equations of lines. And if you remember, the most basic equation we have is y equals mx plus b, and that is a slope-intercept form. M is the slope, and b gives us the y-intercept, 0 comma b. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1 is our point slope form. So if I have a point that isn't the y-intercept, I plug x1 in and y1 in, the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate in to this form, and from there I can write my equation. It's a nice form to have if I don't have the y-intercept given. And then the last one we have is the standard form, and that's ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c all have to be whole numbers. Oops, x plus by equals c. And then a must be positive as well. And they all have their pros and cons about how we write them. Let's start with this first one. Here is our graph given to us, and we're supposed to write the equation of the line. So I notice right away that there's a y-intercept at 2. So y equals plus 2 at the end. The slope is up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3. So the slope is rise over run. We can simplify that to 1. So y equals 1x plus 2. The next one, the y-intercept is down there at -5, so y equals mx plus b, or minus 5. Slope down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 over 2. So our slope is -9/2. So y equals mx plus b. So I'm just taking from the graph what I'm given. It's nice when we have that y-intercept because we can go into y equals mx plus b. Number 3, write the equation of the line that goes through 0, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has a slope of -2/3. So the line looks like this if I was supposed to graph it. And what's good about this is 0, 6 is actually our y-intercept. So my equation, y equals -2/3 x, because that's the slope, plus 6. So that part wasn't that bad to do. The next thing we have to do with this is get it into the standard form. So I'll rewrite that equation up here. And there's a couple of edits that we need to make for this one. First of all, we can't have any fractions. And since this 3 is in the denominator, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything on both sides of the equation by 3. So on the left, we get 3y, and we multiply 3 by this. That 3 in the denominator cancels out, and we just have -2x, which is good, no more fraction. Distribute the 3 to the 6, that's plus 18. And we almost have it at this point. The last thing we're going to have to do is get the x back to the left side because it's supposed to lead off with x, then y equals numbers. So if we add 2x to both sides, we get 2x plus 3y equals 18. Why is it in standard form? All of the numbers are whole numbers. 2 is positive, and it's in the correct order. X, Y, number. Number 4, write the equation of the line that goes through -2, 1 with the slope of 1/4 in all 3 of the forms. Here is the point I'm going through, and it's not a y-intercept. So I'll start with the point slope form. Y minus 1 is equal to 1/4 times x minus -2. That's the point slope form. So I'll just write that in my answer down here. Y minus 1 equals 1/4 x plus 2. This line goes through my point, -2, 1, and it has the correct slope. We also need slope-intercept form. So we'll distribute the 1/4. Y minus 1 equals 1/4 x. 1/4 times 2 would be 2 over 4. 2 over 4 simplifies to 1/2. Next, we need to add 1 to both sides to get the y by itself. So y equals 1/4 x. 1/2 plus 1, I could use my calculator, or I could try to combine. 1 plus 1/2 is 1.5, or I could call it 3 over 2. Sometimes I like the mixed number because 1.5 is going to be easier to graph. Sometimes I like this improper fraction because when I get it into standard form, that's going to be easier to work with. So I could, again, call it 3/2, 1.5, 1.5. It doesn't matter. I'll just use the one that I have written down right there for the slope-intercept form. Lastly, we need to get into standard form. So we're going to take this equation and do what we did in the previous one. We're going to multiply. So there's no more denominators. And as I look at the denominators right now, 4 is the biggest one. So if we multiply everything on both sides by 4, 4 times y is 4y. 4 times 1x is x. And then 4 times 3 over 2. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So that looks a little bit better. Let's subtract x from both sides. Negative x plus 4y equals 6. Almost in standard form. And what I know from here is that if I multiply everything by a negative, that makes that x become positive. The 4y becomes negative, the 6 becomes negative, and even though I have more negative terms, what's important is that the leadoff term is positive. So these three equations all represent the same graph. When I'm trying to graph this over here, I could decide which form I want to use, and the graph should look the same regardless. I'm going to choose the point-slope form because this one has a fraction over here for y-intercept. That's a little bit tricky. Standard form really only if I have to, but for this one, I know it goes through the point -2, 1. There it is. And the slope is 1/4, so up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 3 points lined up. And there's my graph. Again, it doesn't matter if I could have gone from here, I could have gone from there, but this just seemed like the easiest one to work with. Here's number 5, and I'm going to pause here for a second after I read the directions. It says, write the equation of the line that has an x-intercept of x equals 4. That means 4, 0 is our point. The slope is -3. You need to write it in point slope, slope intercept, and standard form. I would start with the point slope. So pause and see if you can get this one started. I'm seeing y minus 0 equals the slope times x minus 4. That's point slope. Y minus 0, I can just call that y. I could put the -0 in there if I wanted to. I don't really have to. Then getting into slope-intercept form, is y equals -3x plus 4. But this -3 is going to distribute, so it's -3x plus 12. Good news. That is already in slope-intercept form. And then for standard form, add 3x to both sides. Everything has whole numbers. The leading term is positive, so 3x plus y equals 12. Great, we have our last form. As far as graphing this, I could use any one of these. I like the fact that the slope-intercept form has all integers in it. I'm not worried about any fractions. However, plus 12 is off the graph and it doesn't fit. So if I go back to this one, remember there's a point at 4, 0, 4, 0. Slope is down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, or up 3, left 1. Those points are going to line up, and there is our graph.